Hi everyone. This is Enrique Guerra Medina from Art Then and Now. Thank you for joining us today. This podcast is designed to bring you trends, insights, history, works, and biographies of artists around the world, broadcasted from our studio in Lima, Peru. In today's show, we're going to talk about triangles, science, and myths. We live in a world mathematically controlled. This is the conclusion of some physicists and mathematicians who nowadays are accepting the possibility that science and spirituality are no longer separate realms, but instead just part of the same reality. It is hard to accept how the human mind has been able to create abstract mathematical concepts that can explain the entire universe so efficiently. Sciences, in general sense, work very well to control Mother Nature. So, the question is, was mathematics really created by man, or it has been the consequence of man's discovery? Nowadays, we know that every single cell, tissue, system, and life form is intimately connected with others, even if there is no obvious or apparent connection. That invisible connection is called the field. Even pre-millennium physicists like Max Planck knew about the existence of this field that he called the matrix a century ago. Undoubtedly, quantum physics has had an enormous influence over the past century since 1920, when Max Planck, German physicist, published his paper about the energy radiating atomic system. Nowadays, he is considered the father of quantum mechanics, quantum physics, or quantum theory. But quantum mechanics wasn't discovered all at once. Instead, it has been the result of a long-term process of evolution that started with a number of different scientific discoveries from 1834 to the present. As we can see, the path to the quantum theory is very old. The use of smart cell phones, smart TVs, computers, internet, wireless devices, etc., would not be possible without the existence of silicon and quantum physics. Transistors are made of highly processed silicon material to make the little chips present in those devices. One chip can have millions of transistors made of silicon. Researchers like Bruce Lipton, cellular biologist and best-selling author, talk about an energetic field made of different kinds of vibrations. Among them, the photons are light vibrations in the electromagnetic field. The electrons are vibrations in the electron field. The up quarks are vibrations in the up quark field, and the down quarks are vibrations in the down quark field. All these vibrations and more work together as one to create the physical characteristics of humans, animals, plants, and minerals. They affect the atomic particles and subatomic inner strings. In our inner self, our bodies work highly connected with these fields and behave according to certain kind of programming language or codes that biologists call codons. These codons, present in our DNA configuration, found in the nucleus of every single cell in our bodies, are the responsible of giving us our peculiar physical characteristics, time span, personality, etc. It is the same code that makes our bodies work, react, grow, live, and die. As we said above, this complex code is present in our DNA as a sort of programming language that is possible to be decoded and recreated. I remember the story of two siblings who were physically impaired at the early age of 3. They literally could not move by themselves. The girl was not able to keep her head high because the lack of control over both her nervous system and the muscles of her upper body, so her head had the tendency to drop front or back. Her brother didn't have the strength to walk. He could not even stand by himself. This drama was triggered by the fact that no doctor was able to find a definite cure for them. Having them treated with a wrong diagnosis, the prognosis for the two of them was pessimistic. The mother of these two kids could not accept the fact that her precious kids were not able to have a normal life. She persistently tried to find a clue to redirect her children's treatment and possible cure. That is how she came across with an article that described both her daughter and son's disease symptoms, present too in a little girl who was being treated in a brand new hospital with a very innovative technique called gene therapy. This story is long, but it is essential for me to remark the fact that these two kids became healthy after a certain period. I can't remember the name of the institution where these two kids were taken as a last resort to give them a normal life. The innovative stuff in this center was the diagnosis of diseases by reading and interpreting the DNA chains. If something was wrong, the reading of the DNA codes could give them the right diagnosis. That's exactly what happened. The right diagnosis led them to a definite cure. Gene therapy worked, although it was almost experimental then. What doctors did was to detect an anomaly in the DNA code, and then they found out that the kid's problem was caused by a genetic disease called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. An experimental drug was used to delete the wrong DNA information, and the recovery was amazing. Nowadays, the girl became an athlete, and she and her brother enjoy a healthy life together. We are learning to decode the complex programming language of our bodies, and nowadays it's possible to cure serious illnesses like cancer with this new technology just by rewriting the DNA instructions and correcting errors. Bruce Lipton even talks about the possibility of healing ourselves without the influence of any kind of drug, just by the power of belief. It is a well-known fact that 1/3 of all medical healing are due to the placebo effect. It means that patients with certain kinds of diseases get cured just by having medicines that are not other than sugar pills. The power of believing in that treatment is what it really cures, not the placebo. So, there is a hidden science, something that most of us are unable to get access, but that exists beyond our comprehension. It is precisely these new discoveries led by the quantum physics, which has represented a paradigm shift from Newtonian physics, that the old division between science and spirituality is becoming just to disappear. Once I heard a mathematician saying that the world and even the entire universe was made of triangles. This statement sounded crazy to me because I could not explain how to make a sphere from a triangle. He said that material forms were made of triangles. Apparently, he had a way to demonstrate this with awesome examples. To this point, I thought, well, it is just one more theory among hundreds that explain how the world works, but it was something else. Art and science have been close mates, especially visual arts. They have tried for centuries to emulate reality. Schools, movements, trends have been influenced by science and new discoveries. My son studied 3D animation many years ago, and when I remembered the scientists' comment about the triangle formation of the material world that surrounds us, our own material form included, I asked them how important a triangle in the formation of shapes like a car, a house, a tool, or even a human face is. He said it is very important. In matter of fact, the rendering to obtain the closest image of a 3D object that represents an object with perfection is made of triangles. The reason is very technical, and that is, it takes less computer power to process information from triangles than any other shape. I could not believe my ears. The answer was there all the time, but even if the real world is made of triangles or not, does not matter. We're close to create virtual reality to perfection, that probably it would be very difficult in the future to recognize what is real or not from a computer representation. So, mathematicians look for patterns and they abstract them into formulas to represent reality. Effectively, triangles have had a serious importance in every single culture. Triangle symbols are found at roughly 23% of prehistoric sites in all periods of Upper Paleolithic. The highest occurrence frequency is in the Magdalenian era. A triangle was part of the Carthaginian symbol of the goddess Tanit. There are triangles in China in prehistoric grave pottery representing male and female genitalia. Triangles are present in the Sri Chakra Yantra of Sundari, where 4 of these triangles are oriented upright, representing Shiva, the male god, and 5 triangles are inverted, representing Shakti, or the feminine. Egyptian pyramids reflect with their triangle faces a reality of a superior order based on a representation of an inferior order. Their quadrangular foundation symbolizing the terrestrial basis. In alchemy, Earth's symbol is an upward triangle bisected by a horizontal line. Earth's symbol is the inverse of Earth's symbol. The fire symbol is an upward pointing triangle. The water symbol is the inverse of the fire symbol. The Seal of Solomon appears in the writing and practices of magicians and has a strong association with Hebrew mysticism. The Star of David is composed of 2 triangles. The upward-pointing triangle of fire and masculine energy meets the downward-pointing triangle of water and the feminine, the 2 merging in perfect harmony. It is said by some Kabbalists that the Jewish God has 2 sexes, a masculine and a feminine one. This Seal of Solomon confirms this. This is a belief that is shared only by the Jewish elite priests and Kabbalists. The pentagram stands for perfection. This esoteric symbol is made of 5 triangles and a pentagon in the middle. The Christian Trinity may be represented as a triangle, sometimes framing an eye, for some the symbol of the Grandfather. Finally, the triangle is a compositional element that has been used in visual arts for centuries. It had conveyed perspective and had been used since the Renaissance. Triangles were also used to establish hierarchies or used for compositional reasons. Anyway, we still know little about our reality, but ancient knowledge has been inherited to us to understand the way things were done and to know the principles that control creation. This is still a mystery for most of us, but we are on our path to rediscover reality in terms of quantum science, triangle mystic principles, and make all myths maybe become tangible, comprehensible, and real. As you enjoy this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Rate, review, and share this podcast with your friends. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope to build a special connection with you and your sensitivity for the arts. Have a nice day.